Well, hello, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with the Ecom Seller Summit. And we hope that all of you are tuned in and have been watching the summit sessions. We had some really amazing sessions today. So if you have not registered, you should go to www.ecomsellersummit.com. Again, www.ecomsellersummit.com. Today, we had on our panel, let me just see before we talk about our topic for the day. We had our speakers, our awesome speakers. Miss Lysandra spoke today, and so did John. And luckily, we have them on tonight's panel. So Lysandra's session was released at around 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and John's was released around 2. So if you are needing some insight into business structure, taxes, you want to go back and check out that session. Miss Lysandra also has an amazing bonus for those people who grab the all access pass, so there's still time to do that. And then John Polidon came in and he literally just gave away the farm. He had an awesome session as well, but his bonuses were ridiculous. He is the one speaker that had not one, not two, not three, but 4 bonuses for those people who grab the all access pass. So you still have time to take advantage of those bonuses. We literally went from 22 bonuses to 30 bonuses today.
Oh my
20, I know, 22 to 30 bonuses. So I thank you, John, for being amazing and pulling back, the veil. So we've been having a battle with Facebook. Our first panel session, which was our retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, we went live. We had lots of interaction. People were commenting and so on and so forth. And then for whatever reason, Facebook took the video down. So I reposted it again today, but we lost all that interaction. We do have a live panel every single night of the summit. So we will have a live panel tomorrow where we will be talking about product sourcing. We want to encourage you to share this out if it's still live. I hope it is. And the sessions are always at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time on our Facebook fan page for Ecom Seller Summit. So definitely, write your questions in the comments. We're going to go ahead and answer your questions around business operations, what are success strategies you can implement into your business to be successful, and everything that you need to know around your e-commerce journey so that you can be a successful seller. So thank you again, Lysandra. Thank you again, John. You guys are awesome. I am going to go ahead and kick this off by just asking the first question of our awesome panelists. So when we're talking about this e-commerce journey, sellers, we could be selling different methods of e-commerce, different platforms of e-commerce. There's a couple of different tips that are probably recommended when it comes to being an e-commerce seller. So if you were to meet someone, what are 3 tips? And I'll just let each one of you tell 3 tips that you would give a newbie, just 3, as they begin the e-commerce journey to help them hit the ground running and kick off successfully. So either one of you could start.
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go. So, because I'm, coming from a completely different perspective. I'm thinking about the money.
Okay.
Right? Like the back end money type thing. So first of all, I would say if you're just getting started, master one platform first, instead of trying to master all the platforms, right? Like find your thing, rock it out, and then you can go and boss out all over the place. But secondly is really watch how you're investing, because what we'll do is we'll just go 150% in and not really look at how we're budgeting the cash outlay so that we're able to really be consistent with what our purchases, whatever you're purchasing, whatever that is, it's better to be, to spend $50 a month for 6 months straight versus $300 all in 1 month, right? It's just building up that consistency that's important there. So 1, master one platform. 2, watch the money. And 3, keep all of your receipts. Scan said receipts, like holy cow, right? If you don't have a receipt, it didn't happen. And if you're going yard sailing, write it down. You might not get a receipt, but write those things down, because that's going to help reduce your taxable income, so you're not paying tax on money that you should not be.
Okay, I love those 3 tips. I appreciate those 3 tips. So you all will be able to come back and watch that again, because she gave away 3 awesome tips. I agree with those. So John, what would you say the 3 tips are for those people that are just getting started, regardless of platform and regardless of method? What are the 3 tips that you would recommend?
Well, I mean, e-commerce is such a broad category.
Yes, it is.
Are you talking drop shipping? Are you talking physical products? Are you talking affiliates? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So, I'm a physical product guy. I'm a service guy. So, obviously I'm going to be a little bit more biased towards those areas. Mm-hmm. But I would say number 1, do your homework. Don't be so quick to jump in. Take classes like this, go online, read as much as you can, and really understand what it's going to take to be successful. The one thing I think people walk into is sometimes even education can make things sound easier than they really are. Mm-hmm. like getting ranked and getting organic traffic. When I first started in my journey, I thought, wow, you just do A, B, and C, and then everybody starts, charging into your your web store and starts buying things. Well, it doesn't work that way. It's, developing traffic, keywords, and all that kind of stuff is tough. It's tough, and you got to do a lot of homework. And I agree with Lysandra. If you can start small. There are some things you can do that are much less investment heavy.
Yep.
I kind of went the suicide route where, you buy a lot of inventory and hope you can sell it.
That is definitely he's like, rip the Band-Aid off really fast.
Yeah, I was a start small chick. I was broke, so I started with secondhand books.
So yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Whether it be in Amazon or whether it be in eBay. I mean, you're learning no matter what you do. Even if you're not making money, if you're not losing money, you're learning. Yeah. And there's value to that. And I don't think, I took a few classes when I first got started, and everybody wants to drive up and show you their Ferrari and tell them if you just do A, B, C, and D, you'll be driving a Ferrari by next month too. Yeah. Folks, it didn't work that way.
And I'm just saying, I am trying to figure out why I don't have a Ferrari. Not that all of this frame would fit in there very, very easily, but I'm just saying. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the one that gets me all day, because you see the YouTube videos and you're like, okay, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, John. What was your number 2?
One more time in a more narrow focused area of the product side. Mm-hmm. Product selection is really important. Having a differentiated product is very important, and having a product that is a good quality is very important. And you got to spend your time up front. There's no shortcuts in that.
I agree.
So, I guess we're going to probably talk more about sourcing tomorrow night.
We are. We'll talk a little bit about sourcing tonight, if that's where it leads us, because the goal is to talk about business success and what's going to help you to be the most successful seller. Yeah. So I agree that sourcing is also key. So learning and sourcing. And as Lysandra said, master one platform, keep the receipts, pay attention to the money. Yeah.
And all right. I guess the last thing I'd say is, having contractors is good. We're not all experts in everything, and there's only 24 hours in a day. But when you're vetting contractors, I think it's very important to establish expectations and hold them to those expectations.
Yes.
Just know a lot of times that people, whether it's SEO people or whatever, they'll promise you the world up front. And, you just spend more money. We're just not quite there yet. Oh, just spend more money because we're just not, you got to have very clear milestones and, know when to pull the plug and change horses if it's not working.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I would consider that almost a more advanced, like, okay, you've been selling for a little bit. Hopefully you're not starting the business. So my first tip is, I've met so many different people on this journey, people that buy a service and or buy a store. So maybe I buy a Shopify store, or maybe I buy a service where it's like, oh, this is a white glove service, so it's going to do everything for me and I don't have to do anything at all. And then something happens and now you have to figure out what it is you're supposed to do at this point, because somebody else was doing everything for you. So if you are a newbie, the first thing that I'm going to suggest is that you at least need to learn the business, which is what John was saying. I don't care what method of e-commerce you're doing or what platform. Make sure you know it first, and not to spend your money buying a package thinking that you're going to make $1 million because somebody said you got to spend this money, buy this package, and we'll go ahead and create your Amazon account. We'll go ahead and put the inventory in there. We'll do all this stuff for you. And then one day they ghost you and you're trying to figure out, what is the shipment? Why am I getting all these emails from Amazon? What am I supposed to do with that? Or you get a Shopify store and you're trying to figure out, okay, now how do I add a product? Where's my notification? Is my money being direct deposited into my account, or is it going somewhere else when I get a sale? So if you don't know what you're doing, I do recommend that you do start off with baby steps and you invest in learning. You can start with the simplistic stuff and do something simple. Just, get your feet wet with retail arbitrage or print on demand, something that's a low cost of entry. So you can at least say, okay, now I know how to log into Amazon. I know what the back office is. I know what a listing looks like on the back end. I know how it looks on the front end, all of the basics. Or if I get a Shopify store, like, okay, I'm going to create my Shopify. I know how to add a product. I know how to know when I'm supposed to ship something. So, you would not believe the number of people like, I bought this Shopify package and I don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, so I understand somebody sold you a package and then things didn't work out the way. So you at least need to learn whatever platform you're going to be on. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think that the one thing about this e-commerce journey is that everyone, when they get started, they have this whole, hey, I'm going to make $1 million in 3 days. I'm going to put up 2 listings. I don't understand why I'm not a millionaire 3 days later. And the thing is that you do have to understand that this takes time. Everybody that's sitting here didn't just wake up and be wherever they are in their journey, because I have no idea where they are in their journey, but they didn't wake up and just be there. Just like when you were born, you didn't just start walking. It was a progression over time. And so you have to allow yourself grace and mercy and time to get where you're wanting to be, and stop judging where you are in your journey based on somebody else you're watching or following. And then the third thing is, I believe firmly that you need to build a schedule. You should have a routine. You should have a habit. You need to think of this business as a business. You should build a schedule around it so that you know when you are doing the basics to be an e-commerce seller. Those basic activities of product research and sourcing, of listing, of shipping. Even if you're not shipping yourself, there's a shipping component to your business. Because again, when you look at the life cycle of a physical product, it has to be listed so somebody can find it, then they buy it, and then it has to go to the customer somehow. So there is some shipping element to your business. So again, I encourage you to build a schedule so that you can address all of the major components of your business that make you money, all the income producing activities. And then also make sure that you set aside time to do the things that are not the pretty things, like the administrative stuff, the reports, all of that stuff that you don't want to do. Reconciliation. Oh my God, how much inventory do I have? Like all the stuff you don't want to do. So those are my 3 tips for somebody starting off. If I were going to add a bonus one, I would be like, don't immediately buy software when you first start, because you don't know if you're really going to like this e-commerce thing. Don't go buy software and spend $100 subscription every single month, and then you decide you're going to quit 3 months later because you've only spent money on software. So that's my 4th bonus one.
Yeah, it was Ray Hig. That was something that Ray Higdon said a long time ago. He said it really is better if you start off broke. He said, because when you get this money, you just go spend the money and you really have no business spending the money. He says it's just better if you just start off broke.
Yeah. So I didn't know, is there anything else you wanted to add, a bonus to what you would say for those newbies that are just starting off?
Well, I would reiterate the part about the administrative stuff, the unsexy stuff,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because because it's the unsexy stuff, like Team Tax Chick over here. Like, taxes are not sexy, but it's the biggest expense that you'll pay in your entire life. So if you're not really watching your books, you're screwed. You're giving
Yeah.
the government more money than what they're really entitled to.
Yeah. Just walk it, or you might as well just go to the toilet.
I mean, if you got money like that, my name is right there. You can capitalize the S or not.
She's like my Cash App is.
And my Cash App, Home Biz Tax Lady. That's my Cash App right there. I'm Home Biz Tax Lady everywhere. You can't miss it.
So what we gonna say, John?
Is let me just tell you how I got started.
Okay.
I was walking through Kohl's one day,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this big clearance on flags, and these were the kind of flags that you put on the top of your car that for your favorite college team.
Okay.
And I was buying these flags at about 10 cents on the dollar, and I spent like $50 and bought a whole lot of flags.
Okay.
Or maybe it might have been $100. But anyways, so I got them home, and I said, okay, now I got to figure out how to sell this stuff. And I got an Amazon and got it set up. But I guess the point was it was small, but it was all about learning.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wasn't going to be in the flag business. This was just a way to get my feet wet.
Yeah.
It's extremely low risk, and so I say enjoy the learning part.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey, because you're going to be on the journey for a long time, and just take your time and enjoy the small successes and enjoy the learning part, and just be a sponge. And then the last thing I'll tell you is, early on in the game, we got into a mastermind group.
Okay.
Where there was probably a dozen of us from all over the world that we would get together and hold each other accountable, and talk about what worked and didn't work, and that's very helpful as well. It's good for your attitude and mental health. It's good to be able to have people to bounce ideas off of, and so getting people that can provide camaraderie, support, as well as maybe some more experienced people that can provide some coaching. I know we provide a lot of coaching to our clients at FBM, and it's really we get a big kick out of seeing people succeed.
Yes.
And if we can steer them around some potholes, amen.
Amen. There you go. I agree with you 100%. So, as for those of you that are watching, we want you to type your questions in the comments section. We want to answer your questions. We want to be able, if you have a question about e-commerce operations, some strategies to help you to be successful in your business. Maybe you're running into challenges yourself. You have a panel here to answer your questions. We don't care if it's private label, white label, print on demand, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, drop shipping, liquidations, whatever it happens to be. We're here to answer your questions. So you can type those questions in the chat. Let us know what your questions are, and we're here to help you. So again, type your questions in the chat wherever you happen to be. We are happy to answer your questions. We're going to continue to talk about business operations, some things that we need to think about, some things we need to consider, and some things that, we're going to talk about some don'ts here in a second. So we did have one person that commented, I want to start Shopify. Well, I think that's a good thing. You want to make sure you know how to create a Shopify store and that you source the inventory. You need to know what inventory you plan on selling or what type of Shopify store you're going to get. We had an awesome session today with Anika Grandison. So that session is still available to you. You can go back, watch the session. All you have to do is register. Go to www.ecomsellersummit.com right now to get registered. Register for the summit, and you'll be able to immediately watch Anika's session, and she talks in length about Shopify. So go do that.
And can I say this too? When you're getting on these platforms, like Nicole said, learn the platform, because it's very easy. Like, I was looking at starting a Shopify store. Okay, story time, right? And so I see these people advertising, setting up a Shopify store. They wanted to charge me $15,000 just to set up the store. I was like, wait a minute. That's insane. I'm like, I know people in e-commerce, so I know better, but there are people out here charging folks, and there are people paying $15,000 just for someone to set up their store. So this is not just a skill that you can use just to sell stuff, but this is a marketable skill because there's going to be somebody willing to pay you to help them get started.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the deal. I mean, I did a whole workshop with a group. I think John knows the group that I'm getting ready to mention, but it was like over 20 something people, 22, 25. I can't remember what the number was. And we actually worked together over a 4-hour period and built Shopify stores real time. So, this is me. They're all in other countries. And this is me guiding them through. Okay, now we're going to navigate to this page. And we're going to upload this image. We're going to go here. We're going to go add a product. And I'm navigating them through that process. So yeah, there's somebody always out there that's looking for the person who wants the get rich quick solution. And sometimes that get rich quick solution is going to cost you a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of unnecessary money.
Oh, let's stay on this topic for a second.
Okay.
What does it take to be a success to create a successful Shopify store? It's not just software, right? It's not just creating the store.
It's not just creating the store. There's many different components to it. So, you need to know what type of store you want to create. Are you going to have a niche store? Are you going to have a general store? For a lot of people, starting off with a general store is their approach because, again, there's YouTube videos that tell you to start off with a general store. But again, it's so general, then you're going to have to figure out what you want to showcase or promote to that person. So you need to figure out what are you going to do, general or niche? I'm going to say you should probably go with niche. Hopefully, if you know the audience and you know how to target them, how to find them, where they live, where they hang out, what kind of problem you can solve for them. So at the end of the day, all the products that we sell, regardless of whether you're doing Shopify, Amazon, Walmart, whatever, you're still solving a problem. Like if I want to make we had hamburgers tonight, so I'll just use that. If I wanted some sauce, like I could create a Shopify store that just sells sauce. And those people that are interested in cooking and they want special sauce for their hamburgers, they will literally, they could find my sauce store if I create a Shopify store. The other thing is that when you build a Shopify store, I mean, there's basic components of, they got to have a place where they can see the products and they got to have a way to be able to check out. But you really do need to have amazing images. Your store structure and your store layout needs to look credible. You could create a janky Shopify store and then you're frustrated because you're not getting people to come, or when they come, they leave. Like they come to the store and say, did somebody just throw this up yesterday? And it looks like, it's a Post-it note website. And it really needs to be as clean and as polished as possible. So if I am going to maybe sell sauce, and one of the sauces happen to be sauce to go on hamburgers, I'm literally going to go see if I can find images where there's a juicy hamburger with sauce dripping off of it. That's going to resonate because you have to tap into the senses when you are building a store where you have to drive traffic. You want to be able to tap into where the audience lives and tap into their senses. Visually, it has to look appealing. If you saw a big juicy hamburger, you might actually be hungry, so you could smell it and taste it, and it's on the screen. So again, making sure that you have awesome pictures is a good thing for a Shopify store, and then using strong keywords, doing that keyword research and doing the SEO for your store. Those are things that are going to help you if you're going to create a Shopify store, in addition to email marketing. I would encourage you to have email marketing and also install some of the apps, because you can have a pop-up that comes up that maybe gives people immediately 10% off. Get a 10% off coupon just by putting in your email address. And now I get you on my newsletter and I can reverse market to you later on for whatever, like 10% off of this special sauce of the month, the sauce of the month, whatever it happens to be. So I would say that those are some of the key components of having a successful Shopify store. You do need to make sure you know how to run it. I mean, The thing that people have that is so comfortable on selling on Amazon and eBay and Etsy is that those are marketplace facilitators. So they take care of like the tax stuff. And so there's a lot of stuff that's handled for you. Well, on Shopify, you're going to have to make sure that you address those things yourself because they are not a marketplace facilitator. So that is one of the differentiating things that you have to keep in mind.
You know, when I think of a Shopify store, I have 3 Shopify stores.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I like to use the analogy of a brick and mortar store.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you got a brick and mortar store. What are your challenges? Well, first of all, you got to have some traffic right down the street,
Mm-hmm.
and they got to know you exist.
Right.
And then you got to do something that makes them want to come in the door.
Correct.
And then once they're in the door, you want them to feel interested, to stick around for a while, and hopefully pick up some product and take it to the cash register and check out.
Yep.
But what I find is a lot of times people will start with a Shopify store and they won't get anybody through the door.
Right.
So the question is how do you get through the door? I'm helping my sister build an account in Chicago. And, you know, they completely discounted that part of it. And so my point is, you know, you got to be able to set up Google Analytics. You got to understand Google Analytics. You got to do keyword analysis. You got to make sure your keyword analysis is done in such a way that you show up for to searches. And then when you do show up, what do they see? You know, is that going to motivate them to click it? Because once they click it, they've walked through your door. And then once they walk through your door, then you start worrying about, you know, the look of your store. Is this what I expected to see? Is this my interest? Does this look like somebody I want to do business with, etc.? But if you don't get them through that door, you could have the best looking site in the world, and it's just going to sit there. And when I was gotten into this business, I don't think I realized the magnitude of the size of the e-commerce marketplace.
Correct.
It is so easy to get lost. And so to get noticed as a new person with a new domain, because, you know, when you get a brand new domain, that's working against you. Your domain age is part of the formula that determines how what your ranking is going to be. So I guess what I would say is that don't underestimate the getting noticed, the impressions, like Google Search Console, the impressions, and then the clicks, because you got to get them through the door or nothing else matters.
You do have to get them through the door, but here's what I will say. You know, there are some people that are really smart and strategic about the domain that they chose. So their domain may have keywords in it that will also help them be found. The other thing is that maybe they've done a really good job with connecting with influencers or establishing a community that is looking for this product or that needs this product. So I am an example of I might be somebody's avatar. I know I am, because of the fact we could go many different ways with this, but I have 2 special needs kiddos. So I resonate in the autism community. So somebody I know that person's journey. I know what's involved in their journey. I know the therapies, the diets, the types of doctors they might see, all of that kind of stuff. So if I have an established Facebook group and I'm selling products around that support and serve the special needs community, because I am a VP of a nonprofit, just so you know, I know what needs to, I know where to find my audience. Mm-hmm. So if you know where to find your audience and you know what their pain point is and what problem you can solve for them, establishing a Shopify store to serve that community, you're going to have a better chance of being found. Making sure that the domain that you bought is going to be something that is findable. So if you have keywords in your domain that is specific to either things that community has to deal with, do, or handle, or resolve, or address. So if you had some of those words in there, when they do that Google search, your domain will come up for that specific problem, challenge, issue, whatever it happens to be, therapy. So that's one. And then the other thing is, if you know where they are. So if you know where they are, if there's Facebook groups, if there's forums, if there are fan pages that are on Instagram or on Facebook or either some other platform, you know where they are, you know how to target them. So you can target them with the products that solve the problem that they are dealing with. So when you know what the pain point is, like you sell underwear. Okay, so all of us wear underwear, we hope. If you're not wearing underwear, we don't want to know about it. But hashtag facts. But the hope is that we're all wearing underwear. So there is an audience that would resonate with for the specific types of underwear you sell. So if you know where they are, you know how to target, you know what the keywords are that they're searching to find the solution to the problem that you address outside of just not having any underwear on, then you know how to get to them, you know how to market to them.
But
so
you bring up an excellent point though. Niche.
Yeah, niche down.
If you're marketing to a niche, it's much easier.
Yes, it is.
Talk about keyword, start talking about keyword competition. Do you have any idea how difficult the word underwear is to rank for? I mean, you're going up against multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yeah, Fruit of the Looms, Hanes.
But if you're a specialty influencer within a niche, and then the competition, could be much less.
Yeah,
and it's much easier to break through. So again, my point being is that front end, getting the customers in the door, whether it's through social media, through email, through influencers, or through Google
Ads.
Organic.
Yeah.
And the point I'm trying to make is Google Organic can be tough. And it's a lot tougher than I ever realized when I got started.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is always a challenge. So what I teach is I tell them, put the keyword in the front. If you're going to, first of all, go search to see if the domain's available. Make sure you go check the trademarks and then put the keyword in the front if you know which keyword you're going after. Or get a thesaurus, one of my favorite things, and find a synonym for that same thing and use that in your domain. That's going to reduce some of the challenges that you have. And then the second part of that is making sure that you know who your avatar is and what is the problem, pain point, solution that you are providing. So then that way, when they get your product, use your product, have your product, how does it make them feel? How does it change their lives? How does it improve their lives? That kind of stuff. And so it is all about, okay, whatever that product is, I don't care what it is. Like when I was trying to find, I don't know, I've used therapy food before. So, you could sell kids play food to a church for their daycare. You could sell it to a regular daycare. You could sell it to a preschool. You could sell like play food, but then there's a whole nother audience that's looking for kids play food that's in the therapy world. And they're looking for it because they have to do therapy exercises with those kids that need food therapy. But most, other people are not thinking about that. I'm thinking about that because I know that community. So having some insight into that community, that you know what what words that they're using, what's the combination that they're typing in to find this particular product, so that when they search for it, did you create your listing such that the title and or the descriptions have those strong keywords in it? Does your domain have some of those keywords in it? Like, you can be found organically if you do it right up front. And you're right. If you don't do it right up front, it's going to be a challenge. It's like swimming uphill. Like, okay, I didn't know that I had to try and swim up a waterfall. So it's like, so it's really hard. So I do the opposite. I'm like, let's try not to swim up the waterfall. Let's try to figure out how we can be on the other side of it and go with the momentum of what people are going to be doing naturally. We want to go with the natural flow of water. So that's what I teach. Try to go with the natural flow. That's a great question.
Okay, I got one.
Okay.
If you're brand new and starting out, would you pick Amazon or Shopify?
Me? I would probably pick Amazon. Okay, let me just say neither. Because
okay, I like neither.
I would choose neither. If I had to start over again, I would probably start with eBay. I think, there's so much going on with Amazon, because right now Amazon is like going through this. They always evolve, and that's just part of the journey. But they evolve significantly, and for new people, you have to explain all the things about gating and ungating and categories and and I don't have to deal with that on eBay. If I just want to learn how to put up a listing, make sure I understand what's required from me from the platform to make sure that I ship it to the customer, and learn how to get better at keyword research, learn how to get better at titling, learn how to get better at images, I would play around on eBay before I would go to Amazon. When I've gotten better and I'm more comfortable with doing titles and stuff like that, then I would go in, and I, being the nerd that I am, would go out to Amazon's best sellers and reverse engineer it, some of the things that I had previously been selling, and go look at those listings that are moving, those that have amazing ranks. So I'm going to take the time to understand ranks, and I'm going to take the time to understand categories and subcategories. I'm going to take the time to understand ungating. But when I'm first starting, I don't want to deal with ungating. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to do gated, ungated. I don't want to deal with, I don't want to deal with any of that. And so you have less of a resistance if you want to get started on eBay, knowing that I'm going to have a little bit less traffic because Amazon is king, and I'm not naive about that. But I would start off on eBay just to kind of get the feel for the life cycle of a product's journey, because the life cycle of a product's journey is the same regardless of platforms. Somebody finds something online, they buy it, they put in their address, it gets shipped to them. We go again. It's the same life cycle. I don't care what platform you're on or what method, print on demand, it doesn't matter. Drop shipping is the same. There's a life cycle of the product journey is the same.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would have to say that I agree with that, because I think with what I was selling on eBay, you learn how to hustle. You really gotta hustle to get really good at eBay really quickly.
Well, it challenges you to get better at keyword research. I do appreciate that about eBay.
Yes.
So I think that's the first thing, is that you do really have to understand that you're selling keywords. And so getting better at keyword research and getting better at images and getting better at titling is only going to benefit you on other platforms as well. What would you say, John? What's your answer to that?
We're in the same vicinity. Clearly, you're dealing with a marketplace. You're going to take off faster because they're already bringing you to the customers. So go back to our last conversation. It takes a while. It takes a while to develop that the impressions in the customer base. The only thing I would probably add is I'd throw Etsy in there as well.
Okay.
Etsy and eBay kind of have some similarities.
Yeah.
But I think Etsy is still pretty easy compared to Amazon. I did Amazon very early on, and like I said, you're not gonna hit any home runs right out of the gate, but it's really good experience. And but the flip side, I would say, is don't get comfortable.
Right.
Don't think, okay, well, I'm doing all this now, I don't have to worry about Shopify, or I don't have to worry about this or that. Because what I tell most of my people that I coach is, you need to get to a point in time where you've got, you're in a multi-channel. You can't have all your eggs in one basket.
Correct.
I mean, you could hit a bump. You could hit a bump on Amazon, and then you could be. I mean, I'm
all of them. Amazon, eBay, they just shut your junk down.
And I mean, you go around Amazon enough, you start reading and hearing horror stories, to the point where you just realize you can't build your whole business just on Amazon.
Correct. I agree 100%. I would not like that. I think what I try to tell people is, let's do the first 3 months and get comfortable, get familiar, understand. And then let's take the next 3 months and keep this plate spinning. We're going to keep our eBay business going, and let's take the opportunity to learn another platform. So we got 2 plates going now, and we're going to spend, I have this whole formula. So I do the first month of just getting familiar with the platform. The second month, kind of getting a little bit more familiar, getting more comfortable, getting faster at getting the listings up, getting better at getting the shipments out. In the third month, It should be mastering, going back and evaluating everything you did the first 2 months, learning from your mistakes, tweaking and getting better at the things that you feel like, okay, compared to XYZ's listing, we're selling the same thing. What did I do wrong? What did I not do wrong? And I continue to scale up and get better. And then we do that same formula when we go to the next platform. We keep this plate going and we add another plate. So now we got 2 plates going. We just sprinkle it in, slide it in there a little bit. And that's why I say, when I say if you're a newbie, the best thing you can do for yourself is build a schedule, because that's the only way you're going to find the time to try and figure out how to manage 2 platforms initially until you get to the place where your revenue is such that, hey, it's time for me to outsource, or time for me to bring in tools, or time for me to automate, or time for me to whatever, because when you're first starting off, you're not like, you got one thing listed. Maybe at the end of a month, you got 50 things listed. But again, you're starting off so small. So you don't even have enough listed to even gain the traction to say, now I need to go buy this $100 software. So, you got to get to a place where you're getting comfortable and familiar with the platforms, the reports, the back office, all of that stuff before you add another platform. Once you feel like you've mastered it, just get it. Okay. And we're just going to create 1 listing on Amazon, not 2, not 5. Maybe we'll just piggyback. Maybe that's the first thing we do. And then we'll figure out how we're going to do this. I think that's the thing that I think most people think that they can just jump in and I'm going to eat the whole elephant. No, because there's going to be a nice set of challenges you're going to have on eBay, and there's going to be a nice set of challenges you're going to have on Amazon. And we don't know, like, you may never run into any of the issues that I had on eBay. And, you may never run into the issues that John ran into on Amazon. You just never know what you're going to run into.
Yeah. And all of that, get familiar with how you get paid and what the fees are.
Whether or not I'm profitable. Am I profitable?
Are you profitable? Because, but you say that, but that is such a huge thing that people miss. And we see it when we're getting, when I'm getting the profit and loss statements, and it's only thing that the seller is looking at is the selling. Like, yeah, but are you selling and making money? Like, you really need to know if an item that you're selling is profitable or not, so, and then by how much, just, are you making a profit? A penny is profit though. Like, let's be real. Like, what is it that you really want to make? And understanding what that is, because that profit, that's what you're going to be paying taxes on. And it's going to be really tempting. We're just going to take all of our profits and just reinvest all that back in the business. Like, yeah, tweet time out. You still need to discipline yourself to save for taxes, even when you have no money, because if you can do it when you have no money, then when you make a lot of money, this will not be an issue. Most people just want to wait. Oh, when I make money, then I'll save for tax. No, the discipline has to start in the beginning. Trust me on that.
Yeah, build the routines in. So, John, what would you add to all of that we've been rattling on about?
I think we've covered it. The only other thing I would show in there is I'm starting to dabble with Newegg a little bit.
Okay.
And
I've heard of that platform.
That would be a niche, but it's when you're into the developing platforms, it's kind of fun because it's not as crowded as an Amazon.
Correct.
And, I do Walmart as well. But most people don't know that Newegg is something that, you can start, you can get qualified for as long as there's a fit.
I've seen that platform before.
It tends to be more towards technology, but it doesn't have to, because I'm putting underwear in Newegg. So.
Well, a lot of people didn't know, like, most of the platforms, like even Target or Home Depot, like, there's an opportunity for you to put your listings on those platforms. And a lot of people didn't know that. Yep. It's just that now it's extremely obvious for Walmart, but all the other platforms allow you to do that. And so Sears was one of those that I actually listed on before I even listed anywhere else. I was taking eBay listings and putting them on Sears. Of course, Sears is whatever Sears is now. Sears Canada still exists, but you know what I mean. All right. So okay, guys. So those people that are watching, we really want you to type your questions in the chat. Let us know what your questions are. We are happy to answer them. Go ahead and type them if we're still live. I hope we're still live. I think we are.
Yes. I have it up because I wanted to see for myself. Like, okay, let's make sure we're rolling.
You know, we were live the whole time, and then they took it down later on. So
wow.
Facebook is I know. Anyway, if you have a question, type it in the chat. If you want to know what it takes to be a successful seller, we have an extremely experienced seller with us, Mr. John Polidano. We also have Miss Lysandra Everett, who's also been a seller. She also does taxes, and then of course I'm a seller. So. We want to answer your questions and just, give you our honest opinion on what the answer to that question might be. So the gentleman that typed in the chat that he says he's in East Africa. So what do I need to do? Because the address is not international and we don't have a zip code or a postal. So, there's a couple of things I've seen different international sellers do to be able to sell, but I don't know what platform you want to sell on. So I don't,
You said Shopify.
Yeah, you can do a Shopify for sure.
But I guess what is this target country going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have enough information. So, but yeah, Shopify may be your route to do that, but you also need to make sure that you set up everything that you need for the shipping side of it to deal with how are you going to receive the inventory, or are you going to drop ship? What's going to be your drop shipping methods? You got to make sure that you understand what it takes to do all that with the Shopify store if you do Shopify.
Now, if you're going to do a 3PL, work with a 3PL like my 3PL. I've got customers in Israel. I got customers in Australia. I got customers in New Zealand. I got customers in Canada. I got customers in the UK. I mean, these are where the sellers are at. Mm-hmm. And they all have either on Amazon or Shopify or Etsy or eBay. I've got customers in Romania, Hungary, Greece. I mean, you can be from anywhere in the world, and if you work with a 3PL, you can you basically have a beachhead in the United States, and you can build a pretty successful selling business in the United States, no matter where you actually dominate. Where you actually hang your hat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. You can. All right. So while we wait for more questions to be typed in the chat, we're going to ask one last question and then we'll wrap it up. So if you got a question, this is our last question that I'm going to ask the panel. Please type it in the chat so we can answer it. So what is one thing? Well, I won't say one. What's two things that you wish you had known when you first started this e-commerce journey that you would tell people, don't do this. Don't do this as you are on your e-commerce journey, whatever method of e-commerce you decide to do. These are two don'ts. We don't have to do three that you would say, don't do these things because they will not serve you well. So either one of you can.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
One, don't get impatient. Don't get impatient. And I, as a matter of fact, I have a client that's right now that is a new seller. And she's like, oh my God, I think I want to quit. I'm like, you've only been at it for 6 months. Like, give it a minute. You have one product and it's been 6 months. Give it a minute.
One product?
One product, and it's been 6 months and she's already starting to sell. I mean, she didn't sell very much, but I'm like, you're just getting started. So one, don't get impatient. Give it time. I think the curse and the beauty of e-commerce is that you can have crickets for 6 months and then suddenly you got a whole avalanche, right? So don't get impatient. And the second thing I would say is don't get reckless. And reckless, I mean, is like I said, you're just kind of going all over the place. You really need to slow down and focus on that one thing, because you'll get the distractions, even in the e-commerce arena, because like Nicole said, the tools, everybody's like, if you do this, it's going to make it easier. If you do this, it's going to make it easier. The only thing that's going to make it easier is focus and learning the process. Once you learn the process, then you can invest in the tools because you know what you want the tools to do.
Yeah.
So don't get reckless in your spending. And if you stay patient and you stay focused, then you will start to see the success. But it ain't a microwave. I don't care which platform you're on. It's just not a microwave. But it's e-commerce is very lucrative. And I've got the clients, and I'm sitting here like I've obviously not been living right. I have a client on Shopify, gross $1 million selling phone cases. Like, I have not been living right at all. But it took time to get there. So the money is there. You know, even in this crowded space, she made $1 million selling phone cases. So there's millions of people that are still spending money, but you have to learn the process.
Yeah. There's things that you got to get good at. So over time.
Yep. It's over time. It's just a little bit better every day. And if you do that, then you will be successful. So don't get impatient. Don't get reckless.
Okay. I like those. Mr. John, what do you have to say, sir?
Well, I've been at it so long, I probably forgot most of it. I would say, I'm going to take a little bit of a sourcing angle to this.
Okay.
And don't just jump in without clear specifications. You make sure you know what you want. Don't just, pick it out of a catalog and say, yeah, send me some of those. You got to understand your products, and you got to and you have to have very clear expectations between you and your supplier. If you don't come at the supplier with good specifications, good understanding of the product, they're not going to really respect you. And then probably the second one would be a contract. A contract.
Okay, contract with
the supplier.
The supplier. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no money changes hands until you have a signed contract.
Okay.
And the contract basically talks about, expectations and consequences. Because when, if stuff happens and they don't deliver the product and you've put in your deposit, what happens? So that would, and I didn't do that in the beginning, and I got, I had some issues, and now I don't do anything without a contract.
You had some lessons learned.
I had some expensive lessons learned. Yeah.
Some lessons, but you learned the lesson.
I did.
Learned the lesson.
I try not to think about them.
I think we just opened up a wound. I think we just opened up a wound.
I'm so sorry, John.
I'm not buying any more underwear in Bangladesh.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry we opened up the wound, John. Okay. So I had 2 don'ts, and then when we opened up the wound, I lost one of them. So I'm trying to think, what was the one don't that it was a good one too. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh gosh. I'm not going to think of it only because I'm trying to think of it. That's just the so emotionally draining thing part of it.
Does that have something to do with Facebook?
Huh?
Nothing.
Look, it probably does have to do with Facebook. In the back of my mind, Facebook just erased everything in my brain.
Don't sell on Facebook Marketplace. How about that?
You can sell on Facebook Marketplace. You can. There are some things you have to keep
No, you can. No, I found some good stuff on Facebook Marketplace, but since they want to act up right now, no, we're not doing it.
Okay, so I can't remember one of the don'ts, but the one other don't that I would say, I wanted to steal yours where you said, you got to be patient with yourself and just don't give up, your persistence. I want to encourage people to just not give up. Don't prejudge this e-commerce thing, because there's clearly so many people that are out here making a significant amount of money in this e-commerce space, and they've allowed themselves the time and the space to make the mistake. Oh, I know what it was. I'm gonna come back to that one in just a second. Don't take anything that happens to you on a specific platform personal. You have to not take it personal. There's going to be negative feedback There's going to be returns. There's going to be scammers. There's going to be all kinds of interesting things that are going to happen to you on this e-commerce journey. You may never experience them. I had one friend, she sold for 2 years straight, didn't experience any of that. No scammers, no problems with negative feedback, no returns, no nothing. And then all of a sudden she kind of started getting a whole bunch of them. Whereas, I got baptized real quick in the first 6 weeks to 8 weeks. I got baptized real quick with the whole dealing with negative feedback and not understand. You can't take any of this stuff personal. If you take it personal, you have to think of it like Walmart. So Walmart clearly gets a boatload of returns. They get a boatload of complaints. They get a boatload of people that try to scam them, all that kind of stuff. And they are still in business. Now, yes, they are a huge company. They're a huge business. So they can afford to take that. So when you first start off, when you have a big blow where somebody does something, I think my sister-in-law, she had, bless her heart, she had somebody returned, I think the return window was like 3 months or something like that. Somebody returned a TV. They bought a TV, had it shipped to them, and then they returned it like right before the return window. And so PayPal refunded all the money back. And she was like, wait a minute, but I don't even have the TV yet. And I don't have this and I don't have that. And of course, there's going to be times where you're going to take losses, guys. You're going to take losses, and you have to think about the long game and not the short game. There's going to be stuff that you cannot control on this journey. There will be those things. You cannot take any of this stuff personal. You can't. You get mad about it. You can get angry. You can learn from your own mistakes. So don't beat yourself up, because you will make mistakes. Trust me, you will make mistakes. Somebody's going to say, you know what? I gave you the wrong address to ship that to. Can you ship it to this address? And they sent it to you in a message, and then you ship it to them anyway. And then they say that they never received the item because you shipped it to an alternative address. Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are things that you will learn not to do. So again, don't take any of this stuff personal. Please don't, because it will make you quit. It will literally make you quit, and you will just not do this business. You won't. Mm-hmm. So I forgot what the first one was, because I literally remembered the second one real fast. But whatever the first one was, I didn't get to finish it. But I think that this e-commerce thing works for a lot of people. Clearly, John is doing fine with it. I'm doing okay. I'm keeping the lights on. The water's still coming out the faucet, as long as it's not frozen right now. And we're doing, it's cold in Texas, and we don't know how to act. We do not know how to act when it's cold. It's like 22 degrees or something. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, we're not used to that. Let me just say, hashtag facts. We are not used to that.
That ain't what we used to do.
No, we're not used to that. But, do what?
Don't send it east.
Don't what? Don't send it east? Oh, in Florida? Yeah. He's like, no.
Yeah, I'm Virginia. I'm good too. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we don't know how to act. But yeah, I just think that there's so much opportunity for people to solve their financial problems with e-commerce if they're patient enough, if they're persistent enough, if they can allow themselves their grace and mercy that's needed. You can be extremely successful at it. But it does require you to learn, as John and Lysandra said. If you learn it, you get better at it over time. You learn from your mistakes. You give yourself grace and mercy. You don't take this crap personal. You will literally you'll learn to get better at things, and you'll become successful over time. You'll get better at keyword research. You'll get better at product research. You'll get better at, finding and sourcing products that are profitable. You'll get better at your bookkeeping. You will get better over time. It's not going to be an overnight success. So you just have to allow yourself the time to get there. All right, so we're going to close it out. What are closing words that you would say to either new sellers or existing sellers, something that's going to help them, a success strategy that's going to help them to be successful in their e-commerce journey? Whatever it happens to be, you can just throw it out. What is one success strategy as we close this out? And thank you so much for participating. Ms. Lysandra, what is one success strategy that you say?
Hire a bookkeeper that understands e-commerce.
I'd agree with that.
I would say don't get greedy. If you can't, if you want, little mistakes are okay. Big mistakes are not. If you can't afford big mistakes, be patient. take your time.
Absolutely. That's a good one. And as John said at the beginning, I'm going to bring this all full circle. Don't focus on the Lamborghini, please. Please don't focus on the Lamborghini.
Don't focus on the Lamborghini.
Oh my gosh. Somebody probably rented that Lamborghini from Zuro or whatever, Turo, whatever the name of that is. They probably rented it so that they can stand in front of it and do their Instagram and all that other stuff.
In front of an Airbnb mansion.
Come on, y'all. These Instagram lives that people are leading. You can bring a camera crew to my house. You get to see all the messy, all the disorganized, all the junky. You get to see it all. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. So we thank you all for participating. If you have questions, you can still type them in the chat wherever you're watching this from. Feel free to ask us questions. We are here to help you on your e-commerce journey. We want to support you and give you some good advice on this e-commerce journey. We hope that you found tonight helpful. And we are going to say goodbye for now. Bye, y'all.